Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Scarfy Spurs Talks. Now, you might be a little bit surprised tonight. Harry's not here. He's been called up for international duty, so he asked me to step in for him. And what a game to step in for and do a little bit of a review of, we're going to talk about that pulsating draw at the Emirates Stadium. But before we get into that, let's just do a bit of housekeeping. If you could make sure you give the like button a smash and click that subscribe button, and that way that will help Harry grow the channel and help him put some more content out there. Right, let's jump into it. I've got two cracking guests with me tonight. First, Travis. How you been, Travis? How you feeling after Sunday?
Good evening. Yes, very well. So that draw feels like 3 points to me. So you go to the Emirates and get a draw, regardless of how we're playing at the moment, it's always a 3 points there. You know, it's always good to see Mikel Arteta running up and down the touchline like a wet tortilla he is. But yeah, we move.
That's it. We certainly do indeed. And joining Travis tonight is a good friend of mine. Done quite a bit with him, and I'm sure he said he was going to be hiding behind the sofa watching this game on Sunday.
Yeah.
So how you feeling? How was Sunday for you? Because I know you was extremely nervous.
Yeah, not just for the reason we're playing Arsenal. I was watching the game with some Arsenal fans, so it turned out to be 1 instead of 3, thankfully. So, which was a bit of a relief, but also because if people don't know, I actually work near Highbury, so the whole area is basically Arsenal, and people I work with, most of them support Arsenal. So for once, when I walked in on Monday morning, everyone avoided looking at me.
Nice, yeah. So you haven't been able to do that after a game at the Emirates in quite a while, have you?
Yeah. So it's pretty nice.
A win.
And I was just relieved that we actually got something. So yeah.
Yeah, well, we're getting into the game, and you've got a few bits we want to talk about tonight. Travis, do you think we made a little bit of a nervous start to the game? Do you think the kind of occasion and the atmosphere and everything kind of got to us? Because for the first, I don't know, maybe say 10 minutes, we weren't our normal composed self, was we? Even players like Basuma were kind of looked a little bit nervous on the ball. So do you think we started off nervously in the game?
To me, that's quite normal. I think for the last God knows how long I've watched the Tottenham Arsenal games, we've always looked nervous against them for the first 20, 30 minutes. And then we do slowly start to come into it. We composed ourselves well. I've seen us play a lot worse against that lot. So I think even if we was a bit nervous, we did compose ourselves very well. We did get stuck in at the right times. I thought the team he picked again was absolutely spot on. I was a bit and ahhing about Pape Matar. I know he's had a good start to the season, but obviously being a North London derby, you've got to go with your strongest side. You got to, but yeah, I think he played superb. To choose one player out of so many that played well, I thought he was really mature the way he played. But yeah, it's a North London derby. We're going to be nervous. I think they were nervous as well. I think when that first goal went in, you could see by the looks in their face, they could see that we was up for it. But yeah, I think for the whole game, I thought we was absolutely brilliant.
What about yourself? What did you think to the start to the game? Did it kind of make you even more nervous? Did it make you hide behind the sofa a little bit more, or was you confident that we'd grow into it?
I was actually quite surprised. I kind of disagree with this. I don't think we were nervous. I actually think we were kind of a bit overconfident. And the reason I say this is because in the first few minutes, I thought we had most of the possession. It felt like, to me at least. Obviously, it's been a day and maybe I remember it wrongly. I don't know. But it felt like to me that we had more control of the ball in the first few minutes. And we were passing it around, but I felt like we were taking too many chances almost at the back. So it's not like the players I felt were nervous, like playing it. I think they just maybe were a bit... Like I didn't expect Arsenal to press that hard in the first few minutes. I guess I should have done, but someone like Odegaard, before he got his yellow card, he was literally pressing every single player in that back four or back five even. And I think that's maybe what shocked me. But in terms of the nervous start, I didn't feel like we were actually nervous. In fact, because of our overplaying, I thought we were a bit overconfident in some respects, and we didn't really expect Arsenal to come out as hard as they did. It felt like to me.
Yeah, I mean, it
I guess
kind
it
of
depends.
reminded
People
me
watch the
of.
game in different ways, I guess.
Yeah, see, for
Yeah.
me, I kind of got reminded of games at the Etihad in seasons gone past, where we were playing out from the back, but almost getting ourselves too crowded,
Mm.
taking too many risks when players were too close to others to make a pass, and it was a bit like, oh, that is a risky pass to make, and all of a sudden, if you start doing that, teams can start to get a little scent of like, oh, this lot are nervous, I think, and they're making some. We catch them out here, we're banging on goal, and we'll talk about a missed chance that Arsenal had that
Oh,
probably
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
around and in a different direction in a little while. One topic I wanted to touch on, Travis, because I thought if you listen to Sky, I think you got the impression from that first half, especially if you listen to someone like Gary Neville, you got the impression that Ndogi was getting absolutely annihilated by Saka in that first half. But I didn't see it that way. I kind of felt he was doing okay until he made the rash tackle. And then, of course, once you make that rash tackle and get that booking, when you're coming up against someone like Saka, you now know you're in a world of trouble because you can't make a tackle should you need to. How did you feel he coped after that? Because I didn't buy into the narrative that he was getting torn apart on that side at all. What did you think? Because once that booking came, he had a tough half to see out, didn't he?
Do you know what I think you dodgy. I think he's just come from a different league, and I think Saka has played on that because I know he's played pretty much every game so far. That obviously since the new season has started, but I think Saka was kind of licking his lips there because he kind of thought he had what's his name, Udogie in his back pocket, but I don't think he played bad at all. I mean, obviously, I know we had Emerson Royale on the bench, but I didn't really see him put a foot wrong. To be fair, I mean, any defender that goes up against Saka is going to be probably bricking it a bit. But I thought he played really well. Without saying bias, I thought he had a good game. It's his first North London derby. He's never played a North London derby before, so I thought he played really, really well.
Yeah, it has. Did you think once he got that yellow card, obviously I think Sky were sort of setting the narrative that, well, he's going to get sent off now because Arsenal are just going to bombard him on that side. But I think after he got that yellow card, he kind of realised, well, actually, listen, there's nothing to be scared of Saka here. I don't need to go diving in. As long as I defend sensibly, I can mark this guy and mark him well. What did you think of how he coped after he got that booking? Was you worried for a minute? Would you have possibly, if you were manager, would you have made a change to get Davies on, fearing a red card?
See, no to Davies because the drop off in quality is so big.
Yeah.
I think we've been a lot worse. I actually think Udogie played better when he was on the yellow card than before.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's almost like, I don't know, Poch says something like this. Like he had a player once on the yellow card and then they played better afterwards. I can't remember which player it was, but I remember Poch saying something similar. But I felt in the first half, the only thing that annoyed me was that suicidal back pass that almost ended in an Arsenal goal, which was a bit naive of him to play a pass like that, not looking like who was actually there. And maybe in the first few minutes it was a bit shaky, which is kind of understandable. I mean, considering his age. But like I said, after the yellow card, I actually thought we played better. And I don't think there's this narrative from Arsenal fans, because I've been watching some podcasts or listening to whatever, and they're saying, "Oh, Saka was all over him," but I don't think Saka. I know he scored the penalty, which was, let's be honest, that's not Udogie's fault, and then obviously the goal, and apart from the goal, which was, I don't know why they didn't engage him. I didn't ever feel like Saka was destroying Udogie. In fact, I thought Udogie almost dealt with kind of two players down that side in some aspects of the game. Yeah.
Well, he was at times, wasn't he? Because Johnson, it was clear that Johnson had been told, "Listen, you don't need to come back. We're clearly going to try and exploit your pace going forward." So yeah, I think I kind of agree with you in that sense. That I think once he got the yellow card, he realised he had to just concentrate and just play his normal game. And after that, I think he handled Saka really well. And
I don't really
Saka
think
wasn't
Saka
a threat
did
after
much.
that.
I know he scored the two goals. It kind of controversial for saying he not did much, but in terms of like other aspects of the game, I don't think he really did much at all. I'm annoyed with the goal because I was obviously screaming at the telly for someone to engage him for the shot because it was obviously what he was going to do. But you can't. I don't think you blame Madochi for that because I think he was picking up someone else. If you look at the move, I think he was picking up someone else.
Well, I think that was what we were saying earlier. Because Johnson wasn't coming back, I think he kind of got confused when Johnson did come back with a runner. It's like, I would normally go with him, but now, you've actually come back.
And the only player that tried to block that shot, sort of, but he was too far away, was Van der Ven. I don't think you remember the replay, but he was the only one who was sort of near it. But no one really kind of like went to him, like maybe like Sarr. I don't know where Sarr was on the pitch at the time. Or Basuma should have really gone just to put him off or something because it was obvious. I could have, I knew he was gonna score as soon as he turned inside. I was like, it's the way he shaped up to hit it as well. It was just kind of obvious. I don't know.
So once obviously Arsenal get that first goal, I was actually really impressed because, Travis, the worry that I would have had, or we've had in previous seasons, is that sometimes if Arsenal get that early goal, the heads can drop, and before you know it, Arsenal have quickly gone and got a second. How impressed with you was the way that we kind of then regrouped and kind of just said, okay, we're a goal down now, but now we just need to, again, get ourselves back in the game, keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that's been a massive improvement with every game, to be fair. Not just the Arsenal game. I think every game, where we've conceded, you can just see that the players are a lot more happier. And I think the players are a lot more happier since Kane's gone. As much as I loved Harry Kane, and he was our number one striker, I think there was so much negativity on board as well with Kane being there. Because I think every single player on that team confided in him to get every single goal. But I think as I said, I've said on previous podcasts, there's been a lot more going on behind the scenes with Tottenham Hotspur than what people actually see. And I think there's so much more confidence being built into the squad. I mean, he's dropped Eric Dyer, absolutely fantastic. I couldn't feel anything better. People may know already, I'm not an Eric Dyer fan at all.
I don't think there many is left. I don't think there's many left now, is there?
No,
who do rate him?
Yeah, how he's got into the team this year, I don't know. He must be doing something behind the scenes, but what that is, I don't know. But alas, but yeah, in regards to the confidence of the team, there is so much there, and I think because I think Levy has kind of put his money where his mouth is now, and he's given Big Ange the players that he wants, and they're not just panic buyers. They're really not. They're players that we actually know. I mean, look at James Maddison, been absolutely outstanding. Every game he's played, I'll be kicking myself now if he's injured because he has been the Christian Eriksen replacement we've needed for a long, long time. And I think our midfield is pretty much sorted now. Obviously, waiting for Bentancur to come back from injury. I think we've got it sussed, and I'm always on the fence with Tottenham every season, as I think most normal Tottenham fans are. But I think this year, I think we're in for a good ride. I think, and yeah, I'm enjoying watching our team play football again. Rather than my dad telling me to calm down because he's had 60+ years of it of being let down. So I'm a happy Tottenham fan at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, was that confidence in the way we play? Was that seen in what I think probably was a pivotal moment in the half when James Maddison gets caught on the inside the area by Jesus and he blazes it over? The fact that then we still carried on playing that football after, does that show a confidence in the way that Ange has instilled in this side, which is, listen, we're not panicking. Like, just because we concede, we're not going to change what we're doing. We're not going to panic. You keep doing what you're doing, keep showing for the ball. We're going to keep trying to play football. Was that an example where you would say we wouldn't have seen that under the previous regime managers? I mean, we probably wouldn't have seen that football being played in and around that area there. But is that just an example of where the confidence from what Ange is installing in this side comes from?
I think the players have already bought into his philosophy, just to use that word, because everyone seems to always use that word when it comes to these things.
Absolutely right.
But I think there's two significant things between last season and this season. And this is not a dig at Ange or anything, but I think Van der Ven coming in has and completely transformed our back four.
He was so impressive yesterday as well, wasn't he?
I
in
rate him
everything
more
he
than
did.
Romero. I'm sorry, I rate him more than Romero. We'll talk about Romero in a bit. I wasn't happy with Romero at all. I'm sorry. I was not because of his mistakes, but it's just his general play seemed a bit really off in a derby for me.
We'll come to that because we're going to talk about the handball and that later on, so we can touch on Romero
I'll say
at
that for later.
point.
Okay, so and also Maddison. So in those two players, we've fixed sort of the back line because now Romero has a capable partner, so we can play a back four, regardless of who the full backs are. I'm not saying Davies and Emerson that will be decent if they come in and make, but they'll with the two of Van der Ven and Romero, at least we have like a core there. And then in midfield with Maddison joining, and obviously this is where I credit Ange a lot. He's changed the formation and going to a 3 midfield has alleviated all the problems we've had last season where we're getting outnumbered every game. And obviously that's by consequence transformed Basuma because Basuma was obviously a lot better in a 3 at Brighton. So therefore, by consequence of both things, you've got Maddison and Basuma in the same midfield, and you've got a playmaker and you've got someone who's basically replacing Mbele. And obviously Sar's come back, and the difference I think between Ange and say Conte is that he gives these young players a go. Like Adoji's thrown straight in, Sai's thrown straight in. Porro, I give Ange massive credit for that because I think I can speak for a lot of Spurs fans. Seeing Porro right back, he was my man of the match by the way against Arsenal because I didn't expect that performance. He's literally just gone into that defense and just settled in slowly. He's getting better each game, and that's like on Ange doing things that taking more risks in the lineup, I guess, and where players are playing, and also just changing and fixing some issues we had last season just by doing like 2 or 3 tweaks. That's what I'd say.
It was, yeah.
So in that game, of course, it's a derby also, and I've watched so many North London derbies. So even when we went a goal down, I wasn't exactly like losing my mind yet. I think if they scored 2 or 3, it would be a different story. But
do you think if Jesus scores that opportunity, do you think that would have changed that game yesterday at all, and possibly would have given us too much of a mountain to climb?
I think okay, I know he scored 2 goals, but the way we were playing, I think maybe they would have beaten us if Jesus scored that chance.
Yeah, Travis, what do you think? Do you think if he sticks that one in, that changes the dynamic of that game yesterday, and 2-0 might have been a bit too much of a mountain to try and climb at that point, or would you still have had faith that we'd have got ourselves back in it?
I think, as you just said, I think if they would have gone 2-0 up, I think we would have really struggled. Obviously, we didn't play bad. I thought we played very well, very maturely, and we kept our heads up, as I said before. But going 2-0 down against Arsenal, obviously with the way they're playing at the moment, pains me to say it. It would have been. I mean, that first goal, that was so unlucky.
It was.
Romero
stuck. He's swung his leg out. That ball could have gone anywhere. That could have gone into Rose. It could have gone in the goal. Fortunately, obviously, it went into the goal. That happens to every best defender on this planet. So very unlucky. But yeah, of course, going 1-0 down against one of the best teams in the league at the minute. I hope God's looking down on me when I say that because it does pain me. But it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's the North London derby is completely different to any other game we play every season. So anything can happen. It's an FA Cup final, pretty much, if you want to look at it that way. Barring we're not playing West Ham, but yeah, listen, I thought very unlucky for Romero. Obviously, I know we're getting onto the point about the penalty call, but yeah, I think we kept our structure well, and yeah, I've not really got any negative to say about the game. Really, I thought Ange really got us sorted out.
Yes, it has. Obviously, as the half grew on, I think it's fair to say that with the last 5 minutes of the half coming, I think that's when we really suddenly got on top, didn't we? And we suddenly started having a spell in the game where we seemed to really settle and realise it almost looked a little bit like we don't actually need to be scared of these, and we can go at them, we can attack them. And ultimately, it led to us getting level. That was massive, wasn't it? Getting level, going in at half time, back in the game with confidence growing.
honestly, Maddison is just so good, man. It's just because he literally made that goal completely. I honestly, watching the game in real time, you think the ball's going to go out. He keeps it on and he just puts the ball on the plate for Son. I mean, not exactly on the plate, but Son, I have to give massive credit for that goal because he had to kind of turn the ball into the other corner as it came in. But it's obviously, I don't know if you've seen the players train before the match. I don't know if you've seen that before the game, but they do these drills where they do certain passing strategy, or what's the word, moves, I guess, or something in the warm up, where they do these cutbacks or they do these certain triangles or certain, and this, to me, it seemed like it was sort of choreographed, if that's the right word. And the second goal was obviously a lot simpler, but this one, the first one, I thought was a lot harder for Maddison to create it, actually, from where he was on the pitch to where he ended up, and obviously where Son scored. Like, it was a much tougher goal to score, and to me, it was the much better of the two goals. But I think that the momentum swung our way after that goal, as kind of expected in a derby. And I think that players like Sarr and Basuma, as we saw in the second half, were a lot more confident. And I think it was partly because we scored this goal.
Yeah, Travis, I think, like I say, that the point when we got the goal, and it was a shame that the halftime whistle blew, wasn't it? Because we'd really kind of stepped up and the momentum was with us at that point. And Arsenal had kind of looked like they'd run out of a little bit of gas all of a sudden, and we were on top and actually looking right. Yeah, there's no fear here. And obviously Johnson, Raya makes a great save a minute before. Johnson, unfortunately, can't get the rebound from first of all for the opportunity when we did score. But the goal looked like it was coming, didn't it?
Yeah, massively. I mean, I couldn't wait for the full-time whistle, let alone the half-time.
When 10 minutes on the board went up I just lost my mind. Like, where have they found 10 minutes?
No, I had a feeling they're going to do 10 minutes, actually. I don't know why.
The longest 10 minutes I think I've ever had.
Minutes. Yeah.
So I had to have a can of Coke to calm me down. The adrenaline was pumping right around my body. As you say, I think, the more we got into the game, and going back onto Papa Sarr, he's going forward a lot more now, which is good to see. He's becoming a lot more confident, and I don't think he's any pushover either, to be fair. Pep met If you saw the way he was taking him with Odegaard in the middle of that midfield yesterday, he launched him to the floor like he was nothing. And obviously there's not a lot of Pep Sarr, so I was,
what impressed me most about Sarr? There was a lot of instances where there was 2 or 3 Arsenal players around him, and he just, I don't know how he got the ball out of there and released the ball to a Spurs player, but that was, to me, what impressed me the most. I can't remember who the players were, but he was near that corner, sort of and then he just somehow got the ball and went put it through both of them, and then we carried on keeping the ball in that sort of area. That impressed me a lot, actually.
Yeah,
I think Benzema's got a big ass getting to this team. Now
I think there's going to be a big battle in the midfield this year between you got Bentancur, Oliver Skip, and now Pat Sarr. You got 3 good. Obviously, I know Bentancur is obviously more of a highly rated midfielder, if you want to call it that. More experienced, but I mean, even without him, we've had Pat Sarr, we've had Oliver Skip. I don't know if he's injured at the moment or if he's just not getting.
No, he was on the bench, wasn't he?
Was he on the bench? Was he? Okay, yeah. I can't remember.
Because Højbjerg came on though, but yeah.
See, I think Højbjerg. I think he had a really good end to the season last year. He was solid in that midfield, and obviously there was speculation, obviously either going to Man United or Atletico Madrid. I probably would have sent him on loan personally to Atletico. The club obviously don't like Reguilon. Obviously, he's
doing really well at United.
He's doing well.
Yeah.
He's doing
well.
Want,
apparently, there's already early talks about it going permanent. By the way, that's why I saw it last night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I've rated Reguilon, but I mean, since Mickey van der Ven's come in, I mean, what's a player? So I'm probably going off the track here. I do apologise, boys.
No, go for it.
For me, Van der Ven's quality. I think he's quality.
What an absolute baller! He's, have you seen how he runs? You seen how quick?
Yeah.
He is?
Well, I think that game yesterday will really give him confidence for the rest of the season because he was so assured. You just never feared anyone was getting past him. when, you know, if he
There was
was
an
making a
instance,
tackle
if you
or
remember,
getting
when
in
he
the
like
way.
I thought they were going to go through us, and suddenly just whacked it out. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, he just come through with an Avid.
Yeah, he
So
just
there was an
smashed it
Avid
out.
sort of.
Yeah,
But
I was like,
it's
go on,
needed
son.
sometimes, isn't it? It's needed.
Yeah,
I think,
but like, I
with
felt
Vans
like
as well.
to compare him to Romero, I think Van der Ven just knows how to get rid of it and when to get rid of it. I feel like Romero, when I watch him play, he just like he's waiting for something to happen. Something I think he takes too long on the ball. Like I think Van der Ven just knows before he gets the ball. Okay, I'm going to release it that side or this side, or just lump it out, because sometimes you have to. I mean, but like, I just feel, I don't know. I think Van der Ven's a future Spurs captain, if I'm being honest.
That's a
You
good
could
shout.
well, yeah, it's a good shout. It's a good
Yeah.
shout. So obviously we get level. Unfortunately, half-time whistle comes, and then we have the worst possible start to the second half, don't we? Now, I have to give Arsenal some credit because I thought their corners yesterday were unbelievable, especially from that, you know, Odegaard swinging them in. Every corner was dropped right under the crossbar at the near post, giving the keeper no chance to come, and they were causing us massive problems. Now, Travis, the handball, what's your take on that? Harsh, or can you understand why it was given? Because for me personally, I feel it's harsh. We know he wasn't making an exaggerated move. It was a natural move. But I can understand why VAR are giving it, because I think that's going in if it doesn't hit his hand at all.
Listen, to me, his arm was in an unnatural position, but it's because he was trying to turn away from the ball, and unfortunately, it's hit his elbow. I mean, I could go on forever about handball, especially the Sissoko one in the Champions League final. Don't even get me started on that. But no, I don't know. I can't really answer that one, unfortunately.
I think the rules on handball have become so complicated now, haven't they? And obviously, you know, Wolves were on the end of a decision that you'd like to think they get an apology from the PGMOL this week. But I like to say, I can kind of understand it being given, because I kind of sat there and thought, if that was us having a corner at their end, and that's us where, you know, Saliba handles it in that situation, I'm saying that was going in. You know, that would have been 2-1 to us at that point. We deserve a penalty.
The refereeing and fourth official are not consistent at their job.
No,
they're really not. I really do kind of. I don't like their system. I think I can't remember who it was now. Done a dirty challenge on one of our players. I can't think who it was now, but he should have seen.
Nketiah, yeah, we'll talk about that tackle in a little bit, because that was. I just don't understand how VAR doesn't look at that.
We as a football club don't get many decisions go our way. We haven't done for a long time. If anything, they go against us. But going back to, obviously, you asked about the handball with Romero. It's a tough one, but again, the fourth officials and everyone else to do with officiating, and they're not consistent enough. That's the only reply I can really give to that. Really, they're not consistent enough, and they're not on the ball, and they're not spot on with it. So,
no, fully agree. Once you saw it, was you fearful that that's going to get reviewed and given as a penalty, or was you confident? No, I think this will. You know, I think they'll see that he's in a natural position for turning, or was you feeling fear straight away?
I remember it happening. I thought they were just going to play on, because there's no way where he is and the way he went, his positioning to make that tackle or block, whatever it was, he can move his hand out of the way. It's literally impossible. So it becomes the whole deliberate handball or ball to hand to ball, like we used to talk about back in the
close
90s.
Contact. You know,
what
can he do from someone 2 yards away from him?
If you look at even the picture, he's so like close to the and he's obviously not going with his hand, because his hand's not. If anything, if his hand was lower like that, you could argue it's actually more likely to be a handball, because he's kind of going to block it. His hands are like really high, and it's what that ball went to him, and he's like, because if you see his action, he kind of moves it a bit like that, try and move it out of the way. But I think it was really harsh, and I'm going to kind of echo what Travis said. You know what's going to really annoy me? Say we have an opportunity like this on Saturday, we hit the ball, it hits a Liverpool player's hand. Is it going to be given? Probably not. so it's inconsistent. So if you're going to give that sort of, to me, cheap handball penalty, because even if it happened to the Arsenal player, I don't think I'd be screaming saying it's a penalty because he's so close to the ball. If I'm just being honest, yeah. But it needs to be consistent. So if you're going to give a handball like this, give it to every single team. If you're going to smash it at someone's hand, just give a handball. We're going to have like 10 handball penalties every week. But
I think they could make it life a lot easier, couldn't they? Where as much as we might not agree with it as fans, if you had the rule that, listen, anything that hits the arm in the penalty box is a penalty, I'm afraid, whether you mean it or not. If it hits the hand, now I know you'll have arguments with people saying, yeah, but then you'll have players purposely trying to hit the ball against the arm. But it just would clear it up, wouldn't it, for supporters? Because, like as you say, you've got Man United fans now sitting there saying, but we didn't get a penalty at White Hart Lane when Romero there had a handball incident.
It's not consistent.
There doesn't seem to be that consistency at the moment.
Do the referees have a yearly meeting, or am I wrong?
Well, I'd like to think they have regular get-togethers and debriefs
I think they need
around
to set
what's going on.
Standard, if that's the right word, about what's the penalty in terms of, say, contact, for example, in terms of, say, like tackling, and what's, because I know we'll go on to later about the possible red card. Well,
let's have a quick chat about that now, because if you consider the Chelsea game at the weekend, where Gusto gets the red card for his tackle, my issue is I can't see how a set of officials see that and ask the referee to go and have a review and change that to a red card, and yet a different set of VAR officials can be sitting in a booth watching Nketiah nearly snap Vicario's ankle miles after the ball's gone. Yeah, go on, Travis.
You made a really good point now. I think what doesn't help with this officiating as well is when all the players run over to the referee and they yap in his ear, and I think that has a lot to do with it, where the ref just needs to stay firm with his decisions, with some of the awful decisions he makes anyway, and just tell the players just to go. And obviously you've got the fans as well, you've got the managers, but the ref just needs to make his own mind up rather than players going over and getting in his ear. I think that does have a major impact on what decision they make.
But I think the problem is also VAR, because obviously he went to the monitor to check whether there was a penalty or not. And someone said this yesterday on a stream, maybe it was Adrian, that when they go to the VAR to check the TV, I think almost every time they give the penalty or the
I knew as soon as he was asked to go and look at the monitor for the handball, you knew he was given a penalty at that point. There was no doubt at that point. It was always giving this as a penalty, and like as you say, you still get the impression that the minute someone's asked to go to the screen, you know that decision or initial decision is going to be overturned. It's very rare that a referee goes and looks and still says, "No,
when it happened when
I'm
he went
happy
to
with my
the screen
decision there."
And he didn't. I think one game I watched, I can't remember what it was.
It's happened once this season. That a referee's gone and stuck with his on-field decision. I think it was the Villa game, the penalty against Crystal Palace. And the referee stuck with his initial decision. But like I say, I can't understand how they can't look at that Nketiah tackle and go, that's a red card. Yeah, I'm sorry. You need to go to the monitor and review this.
See, I'm in the minority. I don't think it was a red card, but that's just me.
But why are VAR making these decisions if they ask the ref to go and have a look at it?
This is what I was going to say, though. I'm confused. It's might as well just get VAR make all the decisions, because
exactly. That's what they're there for. That's what they're paid for. They're probably paid millions a year to sit there and look at the screen and can't even make the decision. Yet they get the referees going and look over. It's just it's mind-boggling. It really is.
Because I think in some other country, I can't remember who someone was telling me, but they do it a lot better, where they'll only VAR certain things. They won't VAR like everything.
Well, I think there's some argument for stuff where it's a case of if something is based on someone's opinion, that maybe shouldn't be something VAR gets involved with, because of the situation where basically someone may have a different opinion on someone else in a certain situation. Whereas if you was to say, look at stuff like, was that a corner? Then VAR basically goes, well, we know There's no opinion on whether it was a corner. Who did it hit last? Oh yeah, well it hit the defender, so it's a corner. But there's some talk around, should VAR get involved when something's an opinion-based decision that needs to be made, because you can't have, or what VAR is going to need to do is make sure that all officials all agree. If you see that, that's a penalty.
Yes, I'm trying to say.
If we see this, that's a red card. You have to have it blanket across. You can't have a mixture of one set of officials say no, another set say yes, because then all of a sudden you are going to get this inconsistency, which ultimately I think most of us think VAR could work, but they need to cut these inconsistencies out where 1 week a decision's being given. I mean, look at the penalty situation. Last week, we should have had a penalty against Sheffield United because there was just as much contact on Maddison as Son in the first game, giving the penalty for Brentford.
Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of think if you set a precedent of what a penalty is, that needs to be followed through the course of a season. And when next week you see the same thing and it's not given, as fans, you just go, well, this is ridiculous.
Even, I know it sounds far-fetched, even what constitutes a foul, because it's nowadays, it's a tiny bit of contact, and it's like giving up, like there were instances, I'm sorry, I sound very biased when I say this, but the amount of fouls given against us in that match, which weren't fouls for me, was just unbelievable. Like, Sarr, I remember, made a tackle, and then they gave a foul against us. I was like, really? Like,
I think I know that tackle. He clearly won the ball. Yeah.
How is this a foul, seriously? And there was other instances where I think, I don't know if Basuma or someone else was like behind the player, and suddenly also the player just goes down. But it's like the guy didn't really even touch him or make a movement to get the ball. He was just in that place, the wrong place at the wrong time, or just behind him or something. And it's just, the fouls are even too soft, I think, nowadays. It's just little touch. Oh, well, you made contact, so... And there was an instance in the first half when there was, I think, who was it stamped on his foot? And nothing was given. Or was it Odegaard stamped on someone's foot?
I can't remember. Yeah.
I'd have to rewatch it because there was one instance when like one of their players stepped on our player's foot and nothing was given. Right. But then they booked Basuma for dissent and they booked Sarr for the motion after.
Well, I think that was when one of our players got absolutely mullered by Ben White, didn't he? Smashed him straight in the face, and they broke from that, and Sarr deliberately pulled the guy down, which unfortunately was always going to result in the booking, but it was one of those good tactical fouls, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, thankfully, the penalty decision didn't come back to haunt us, because instantly we go and get that fortunate little break.
I don't think it was fortunate, though.
Jorginho dallies on the ball from out of nowhere. So, Travis, soon as you saw Maddison breaking, was you confident that this was going to be it? We're going to get back in this game?
Absolutely. I get excited every time he gets on the ball. Just the way he's just a phenomenal footballer. And as I said, he is the creative midfielder we've needed since Christian Eriksen left. We've finally found a player that can actually whip in a corner. How many seasons have we struggled to find a player that can whip in a corner, that can whip in a 40, 50-yard free kick? We've struggled for season in, season out. We've now found the player that can do that. And I think we've had 40 million for James Maddison. Do you know what I mean? And then I think Arsenal paid, 60 mil for Kai Havertz? Or something ridiculous like that. They've had their pants pulled down massively. Come on, do you know what I mean?
He's also on 300 plus grand a week. I can't remember, someone told me he's on 300 plus grand a week, which is insane.
It's a joke, And I think, I mean, I'm not a Daniel Levy fan, but he does do some good business, and paying 40 mil for James Maddison, he's just an absolute touch. So yeah, hats off to Levy there. I don't praise him much, but for that, he's just incredible business. But yeah, I think he played superb in the North London derby. He's going to be another player who loves shithousery as well.
Yeah.
He really
wind a few fans up, isn't he, over the course of the season?
Massively. and for him to do it to Arsenal or Chelsea or even West Ham, it's just going to be so good to watch. I can't wait. Just inject it.
Now, when Maddison broke, I immediately had some horrible flashback to Sissoko breaking away at Anfield
Oh no!
In that one-on-one, the 2v1 situation.
I didn't think of that. No, Sissoko's not Spurs anymore, so.
But yeah, you had to try and wake myself up to realise it wasn't Sissoko, it was Maddison. But I have to say, the ball he played into Son was perfect, wasn't it? Because that is one of them situations where you can get kind of, do I take this on and shoot? Because does he think I'm going to pass it? So do I just keep it and try and take it on and score? Or do I lay it off? Do I drag the defender in so much? But I just thought he was so calm, and the pass into Son is perfect, isn't it?
I'll tell you
it just basically makes the goal.
So obviously Rice went on for half time. Now, as I said, I watched the game with one other Arsenal fan and my dad in the end. So, and you know what I said as soon as Rice came off, I was like, Maddison's going to cook Jorginho now. And obviously within like 5 minutes, he basically did that. So when he did that takeaway, I was literally screaming at the screen, come on, press him, go on, Maddison, press him. And obviously he gets the ball and I'm like, this is going to be a goal, because just the way he went, and obviously Son peeled off the right. I was like, it was kind of
just like
easy
Sissoko at Anfield.
Yeah, but it's at least if it's Sissoko, and you know where the ball was going to go, but at least it was Son who he has to score from that angle. I know people might argue that angle's hard, but where he was, and he just side footed it and obviously into the other corner. You kind of expect, because it's ironic, because that kind of reminds me a lot of the. I know I'm going back to 2010, but you know that Defoe goal to Bale in the 3-2 that we won there. It really reminded me of that goal.
That was such a muggy goal as well. It was quality.
Yeah, Van der Vaart just lays it off, and then Bale just side foots it in. It was kind of like reminiscent of that. But Madders, I'm just gonna what Travis. Honestly, the guy's so good. Like,
do we think signing of the summer?
Yeah.
Do we think he'll be the signing of the season?
100%. He's literally just. I've lost superlatives to describe Maddison.
Superlatives,
yeah, because he's, quality wise, because obviously you compare him to Eriksen. Personally, I think he's better than Eriksen. I know a lot of people might not like that, but he wants the ball more.
When
he's more of a leader. I never feel like, even in games when he doesn't get assists or goals, which obviously right now is a few in between, I always feel like he's involved in the match.
Are you surprised at how much of a leader he looks since coming? Because you never really got that feel about him at Leicester, did you?
Was he Leicester captain, or am I wrong?
I can't remember now. But are you surprised at how much of a leader he seems to have become in that squad?
This is a bit weird. So yes and no. Yes, because like I said, I had a certain level I thought he would be at, and he's even better. So. Yes, no, in the respect that this is going to sound a bit controversial, but Kane's gone now. So now Madders probably feels like the main man.
Well, he wasn't scared to take on that number 10 shirt, was he?
I think he's reveling in it. Honestly, I think when I watch him play, he's reveling in the fact that he knows that everyone loves him.
I think it takes, to take on that number 10 shirt the season Harry Kane leaves. That is kind of a massive weight around someone's shoulders, isn't it?
But I don't think he's enjoying it. Honestly, I think he's just on the field, just enjoying it. And obviously, Ange said whatever he said to him before he joined, and you'll be part of this new look team. And I just think he's just, is that the word ducked? I just think he's just reveling in it. I think he's loving it.
I think as well. I think because Ange has said all along that he wants to play attacking football. Leicester weren't really an attacking side.
They were on the break, weren't they? Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Since obviously Ange brought attacking football into Tottenham, I think he thrives on that, because obviously he's an attacking midfielder. So yeah, I think that's definitely.
And obviously, he made that comment about Saka after the game about the darts celebration. He was still doing it when I was
in his back pocket. Yeah, he put it through the washing machine when he got home.
Travis, I think we all knew Maddison was a good player before we got him. The season he'd had with Leicester, even though that was a team that went down, his contribution that season was still up there with the best in the league in terms of attacking midfielders. But I'm actually surprised at how much better he is than I thought he was going to be once you can actually see him week in, week out. Is that the same for you?
Yeah, massively. I mean, obviously, I think because of his quality, I think it kind of stood out at Leicester because of the players, without sounding derogatory, the players he had surrounding him. He did stand out like a sore thumb. Now he's come to Tottenham where there are big names. I think he's moulded so quickly and so well. So I think, yeah, he's always been a quality midfielder. Obviously, it showed at Leicester, as I said, because of who he was playing with, and now he's come to Tottenham and he's playing the attacking football that he wants to play, and it obviously drives his ambition, and it'll just make him. I mean, how old is James Maddison? He's only late 20s.
I think, yeah, he's still only late 20s, I think. So he's still got some kind of good best years kind of ahead of him as well.
I mean, I'd say he's probably in his prime now, but I think
26.
Exactly.
He's still got his best years, 20, 27, 28, around that sort of mark. You'd see some real good stuff.
That's when Harry Kane was obviously in his prime, and obviously when he was at that age. So yeah, I think it's going to be the same for Madders as well. But yeah, he's just fitting so perfectly. And as I said, for every player we've bought, they've stuck and they've gelled with the team so quickly. I mean, when we sold Gareth Bale, look at the panic buys we bought there. Yeah. We ended up left with one player, which is Christian Eriksen. We went and bought Yunus Kabul, Paulinho. I can't think of who else we bought now.
Lamella. That was a season. Lamella came in. Chadley.
Kirikesh.
Yeah, Kirikesh. I don't know what that was all about. Vlad
Kapu. Soldado. Chadley.
Exactly. So I rest my case. Vlad the Impala. Yeah. But yeah, Lamella, he was great to have on the pitch, because again he brought the shithouse, excuse my French, into the team. So in that sense, he was good. But I think Lee's now realised that, hold on a minute, we do need some quality in the team. Ange knows exactly who he wants. He went and got him. I mean, we've just bought that 6'4".
Croatian centre half. The young lad.
Yeah, he signed
one absolute unit he is. Do you know what I mean? If he gets to play the next North London derby at our place, then God help Mikel Arteta, because he'll be crying.
Now, how badly did you have your head in your hands when Maddison went down and looked like he was possibly in big trouble? I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, it was like season over. Because if that's a possible ACL injury, then that again is 5 to 6 months.
We're in trouble.
Most of the season gone.
Yeah.
So was you almost in tears when you saw him going down, holding his knee the way he was?
I wasn't crying, but I was very worried. But this is because, okay, I'm not saying we can cope without Maddison, but what I would do, I'd move Kulusevski into the middle and do that. But
by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, I think Haz is so desperate to see Kulusevski play a game in the central midfield as a number 10. He will picket and protest outside the training ground, I think, if he doesn't get to see this.
Because honestly, Kulusevski for me didn't play that well in the derby. Again, on the right, I just feel like he's kind of limited. I think if you put him in the middle, I think he's got more of a range to do something. And we saw that a bit against Sheffield United when he was kind of forced to play there because we were going so attacking to score 2 goals. But I'm saying if Maddison goes down, you need to kind of ask for someone else to step up. So, but I think if he did go down and he was out for a long time, I'd be very worried for our season 2. Because for me, again, we say sign of the summer. He's a leader. He basically connects the team together, if we're being honest. So you have to ask someone else to come in and do a similar, or maybe not to that level, but some sort of close to that level job. And that's a big ask because Maddison's a big character as well. So
yeah, I think losing that creativity would be the thing that really worried me over the course of the season, because as well as everyone else has been playing, I don't see another creator like Maddison in the side. So that really would have worried me.
From what limited time I've seen him play, even his good spell under Mourinho, it was nowhere near Maddison's level.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, I think Mourinho kind of used him a bit wide, which anyway. But even Lo Celso's small cameo in that 45 minutes, I didn't see anything different from before, if I'm being honest. I know he's meant to be good for Argentina, but I don't know if that's going to translate into the league. I just feel like he carries the ball too much, and I don't think his passing range is good enough. Like he has got, like he can play far passes, but from what I've seen of him, he doesn't really have the through ball that Maddison has. And just the energy as well. Like even that cup game, I didn't see him trying to take the game on the scruff of the neck, as everyone says. Maddison just seems to want the ball.
Yeah.
Lo Celso's kind of a bit too relaxed, I guess. And so I think we'd struggle to replace him. We'd have to try something different, I think, to try and
Can I just add something to what you said there, Haz? I really like what you said about Kulusevski there. I think with Kuda, I think he's so predictable because he always cuts in. And I think every team's kind of sussed that now. Whereas I think, give him a go. And if we are obviously going to be about Maddison for a little while, put him in the centre midfield and just see how he gets on. You know, he's not a bad footballer. You know, he's one of the best we've got. So, me personally, I wouldn't see a problem with putting him in the centre of the midfield, see how he gets on with it.
I think the news that's coming out of the club this afternoon or this evening is quite positive in the fact
that
it's
right.
They think Maddison's going to be fine for the Liverpool game, and I think they think Johnson's more of a muscle injury, tightness, rather than a hamstring. So I think there was some positive news coming out of the club this evening around.
There was rumours last night Maddison was going to be out for like 3 or 4 months. Everyone was losing their minds, but I'm like, I'm not seeing anything on Twitter about that because I searched.
No, I think today. I think the club have said that they think he's going to be fine for the next fixture. Now, Travis, obviously, given Maddison going down the way he did, I think it was kind of understandable that Ange might have thought, listen, let's just take him off to protect him. Was you surprised with Son coming off, though, given that he was on a hat-trick and seemed to be causing Arsenal plenty of problems up there?
Yeah. My backside started flapping the minute I saw Ange take him off because I thought that's the pace at the top gone now. Obviously, I know he kept Brennan Johnson on, but Brennan Johnson is still quite new, and obviously I know he's new. He has been in the Prem for quite a while now. Obviously, coming from Nottingham Forest. But it's always a big concern for me because I think has he got a knock? What is he being rested? Obviously, he's being rested for Chelsea on Saturday. That game I have no concerns about at all. May I add? But I don't know why he took him off. There apart from, as I say, resting him, there was no. I wouldn't say there's any particular reason to take him off. Obviously, him being on a hat trick, and I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah, Has. Do you think Son would have been happy about coming off in that situation? Because if you're on a hat trick and you sort of think, well, listen, if we create a chance, I'm in the mood to take those chances. And we saw we nearly carved out a third. Porro just couldn't find the cross into him. But once he took him off, I just thought that was our goal threat gone because I didn't really have the confidence that Richarlison was going to be able to kind of do what Son does up front. And I certainly wouldn't have had the confidence that if there was a quick breakaway, he would be as lethal as what Son would in front of goal.
I think the issue for me is more just, I think people need to take into consideration Son's age and his minutes he can do, because maybe we don't know that he might still be recovering from this injury he had because he'd have an operation. And just he doesn't have the same legs he has as before. This is just my opinion. I don't think he has the same legs as before. And with these sort of players, you need to give them a rest here and there, or maybe bring them on to 30 minutes here and then play them the 60, 70 minutes the next game. Just you kind of need to use that. But with Richarlison, I don't think it helped that Maddison and Son came off, because then there goes the creativity of the team. So for people just levying criticism at Richarlison, where's he going to get a goal from? Because these strikers, whether he likes to admit it or not, Son and Richarlison need supply. It's not Harry Kane. Harry Kane used to get the ball and create a chance to set himself. If we were talking about the old Son back in 2000, and that goal against Chelsea ran half the pitch, or Burnley, so 2018, 19 times, let's say that. Maybe he had the ability to do that. But now when I look at him play, I don't think he does. I don't think he has the same legs anymore. We use him as sort of like a poacher now, which I'm not saying to his discredit. It's just that by age, these players have to adapt to a new position, because if they're going to have longevity, it's going to be that way. With Richarlison, he's always been a tall striker who gets headers most of the time, and it's not been as fast.
Do you think the one thing that disappoints me at the moment with Richarlison is his hold-up play? I want to see him at least be able to hold. There was a few opportunities where he's got his back into the defender, but still they seem to nick the ball off him far too easy. And I sort of think, listen, if you're not scoring goals, at least if you're doing well in terms of hold-up play, laying the ball off, keeping things secure. Whereas I thought when he came on Sunday, like I say, for me, we lost I think we lost that goal threat that we were carrying.
I'll tell you what, I know it sounds a bit weird, but if Perisic came on with him, I think we might be saying something different. But because I think Perisic at least would have given him something to run for or go for. Without a crosser or someone that can play a ball in, like Maddison, obviously. Like, well, I don't know whether once Højbjerg came on, and obviously we had Solomon, who I've got to be honest, he didn't really do much. And Kulusevski, we've discussed so much about him on the right, and so it seemed like the creativity had basically gone. And then obviously have a striker there who, I've got to be honest, I know everyone says Ange was going for the win, and he'll go on to win to the end. But I feel like he settled for the draw when he made that change.
Yeah, I do, because I
came on.
think
it's not like he brought on an attacking player, like Ellis or something, or someone else. He kind of just brought on Højbjerg, which to me indicated this guy's just going to try and shut up shop, because he's even admitted that he used Højbjerg for experience. And everyone says he's a kind of like a closer right now. He'll come on for 20 minutes at the end, just see the game out. So once they came on, it was kind of like, yeah, they're happy with a draw. If we nick a win out of something, because Richarlison did have a chance right at the end, or sort of near the end, which I'll consider like a half chance because it wasn't like the best.
Yeah.
But he was kind of happy with the draw. I felt like, even though a lot of people tell me, oh, Ange is going to go to the end. Maybe he doesn't have the quality to do it, because maybe if we had someone else on the bench with creativity, maybe he would have done something different. But yeah.
So Travis, with that point, which I think is a great point, because I say, if you'd offered me that before the game, I'd have snapped your hand off. Does that result prove, do you feel, that we now are a side that this season can compete and stay the distance? It wasn't, we didn't turn up and act like men v boys. I think that was the real litmus test, and we seem to come through it. We've come through that really well. Does that result now give you the confidence that, well, actually, we may have a team that can go further than we thought here?
Yeah, massively. I think every game we've played so far, I think has shown that we are really up for it this year. We kind of want to go the distance. But as you say, if you'd offered me a point before the game, I would have taken your hand off of it, because of obviously the opposition we was playing against. But there's just, I've watched Tottenham for a long, long time now, and I've seen this on our dark days, I've seen this on our light days, and I think you just get this feel, you get this buzz about the team that there's something special going to happen. That's not because I've read things, or obviously what players have been saying, or just in general. I just get this good feeling that it is going to be a different year for us this year, and I'll probably eat my words when I say this, but I generally think we're going to be the team that challenge City for the title this year. I really do.
As is in disbelief. Look, how you like his world has crumbled. What about you? Did that give you confidence? Do you feel that, given that we all were saying before the game that this was the real test of where this Spurs side is? Where do you kind of feel we are now after that?
Yeah, but we're all Tottenham fans here, boys, so we can't dream.
Okay, it gave me confidence in the sense that, for example, we've got Liverpool next week. I feel like we can get a result there, 100%. And being at home, I fancy us to scrape it, actually. But in terms of like talking about the title, I think that's way too early to talk about it now. If we're here in 15 games time, which I know with that March, I don't know. Because obviously I'm running. I don't think everyone says I'm running. It's not exactly.
Trust me, as the next podcast, we'll be sitting here saying the same thing. I can assure you.
Because obviously we've seen teams start off really well and then just completely fall off after Christmas. Like, we were top of the league with Mourinho at Christmas, as you guys remember. But so it can easily fall apart. So I think we just need to take this season as like a learning curve. And I'm saying we're in contention for Europe 100%, because if we look at the other teams around us, I know it's going to be quite competitive because Brighton's really impressive. Villa have got a side. Obviously, you've got Newcastle, who beat Sheffield United 8-0. Obviously, Chelsea, I don't know what's going on there, but there's a lot of teams competing for certain places, and it's going to be tough. But I do think with just one game a week, we'll probably make Europe, whether it's Europa League or Champions League, it's up for debate. But I think talk of the title is still really premature. I mean, City are just a machine, so I don't see them slipping up.
So, Travis, with Liverpool coming next at home, how are you feeling about that game? What you kind of, are you feeling a lot more confident now after that Arsenal game, or again, given this again will be another big test for us? Well, what's your early thoughts on that? That's assumed we've still got our strongest side. Maddison hopefully will be fit for that game as well, so that's a massive plus.
Is it at Spurs?
Yeah,
we're at home. Yeah, we're at home.
They're one of the teams that I do obviously always have fears about playing every season, being the team they are. Sorry, how's you going to get a sensible comment now? To bear with. But yeah, obviously Liverpool didn't start off very well. They're now obviously climbing the ropes a little bit and getting themselves back up there. So yeah, we just obviously have to see what happens. We could run away with 3 points. We could come away with a draw. I can't see us losing. Obviously, being at home and obviously the way we're playing at the moment. But yeah, apart from obviously Liverpool being Liverpool, I think we will give them a good run for their money.
Yeah, Has. I mean, you've said there earlier that you feel like we're going to nick this one at home. Has that result against Arsenal given you a little bit more confidence going into this Liverpool game that we can get a result against them, especially being that we're at home?
I mean, there's a lot of. I'm going to start talking about the past again. Our football happens in cycles, but I don't know if you guys remember Redknapp's first few games at Tottenham. We went and drew 4-4 at Arsenal. We went beat Liverpool at home straight after almost. So I do feel like with the momentum and the confidence they'll gain from the derby as well, considering we were basically written off by half the media, or probably more, plus the other side of Woolwich. So I think they'll take that confidence and they'll go out and just hit Liverpool. And I think we will attack Liverpool a lot, actually, because their defence is a bit shaky. I think we need to be wary about the other side because Liverpool on the break are really dangerous. And Nunes seems to be coming back into his stride now. So I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I know I said 2-1, but it could even be like
Barney
3-2,
agrees with you.
3-2,
Barney agrees
4-3,
with you.
Something crazy.
Big man Barney, big up.
Yeah. So like 4-3, 3-2, 2-1, something crazy like that. I think it'll beat Spurs. Because obviously Liverpool have got goals in them, and I think they'll score 100%. They'll find something out of something. But it's going to be a tough game. But I think just because we're at home, I'm more confident we can get the 3 points. If we're playing away, I think we're playing away. I think after that such a big performance at Arsenal, I kind of be thinking we might actually lose because I feel like they gave up a lot of energy in that game, and then going to Liverpool next week again away from home is like another huge amount of energy you need to use. At home, but at home is a totally different story because I fancy us to beat anyone at home.
Yeah, I think given the momentum that we'll have got from that Arsenal result and the level of performance, I can see us going into this Liverpool game and giving them a really good game. And like, as you say, possibly nicking it. So, I mean, Travis, prediction for that game, score prediction, what are you going with? I mean, we the title's already in the bag, so...
It's a 5-0.
All right, lads. Some people listening, yeah. I'm going 3-1 Tottenham, and Richarlison is going to score.
Oh, very confident. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Has score prediction?
3-2 to Spurs.
You're going big. You see goals in this game.
Yeah, Liverpool have so many goals in them, and one guy we need to watch out for. I don't know if you've seen much of him in Germany or in England. Is Szoboszlai. The guy he's got a lot of in his I hate to use this word Arsenal, but the guy can do a lot. And obviously you've got the front three of Liverpool who can all get goals. Salah's still there. I think Jota scored last game. Nunes, like I said, he's come into his stride now. So they're going to be dangerous. It's just I think it all depends on our defence. If they can, not I say shut up, that's probably not the right word, but if they can handle what Liverpool are going to throw at us, like obviously you've got Porro down one side having to deal with someone. And obviously, you've got Udogie up against possibly Salah. Can they handle these players? That's the question.
So it's going to be another big test. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. I think that momentum from that Arsenal game, and if Maddison's fit, I think we'll go into that with some real confidence. Then,
yeah, I think we kind of win a midfield battle on paper at least, because I think Sam Basuma, what I've liked the most, and I hate to compare us to Arsenal. But obviously, Arsenal's old teams, which are very good, and this is why I've always told Arsenal fans, I think you guys should play Partey, Rice, and Odegaard as the three, is that you have two really strong midfielders, and you let the third one kind of roam free. With Sarr and Basuma, I know Basuma and Sarr kind of rotating about who plays further up, I've noticed, but you have two really strong midfielders, and then you have Maddison, who's kind of like given a sort of free-ish role. He kind of roams around the pitch and he can just do what he wants, which is obviously to a positive because he can play balls and he can drop back and collect the ball, and he's basically just running the game. But the old Arsenal sides, for me, that succeeded a lot, had two really strong midfielders. And obviously, back in the 90s, they had 4-4-2, so you had the wingers as like the two further up, let's say, in this day and age. And obviously they had Bergkamp as like the sitter, and then they had Henry, for example. Like for us, in the same vein, you've got Sarr and Basuma as like the sitters, so Vieira and Petit, whatever you want to call it. And then you've got Maddison as like the 10, and then you've got the obviously attackers 3 for us have like a free role.
So a little while ago, you were knocking Travis for saying title contenders, but now you're comparing us to the Invincibles.
No, it's just an analogy, because what I'm saying is I'm happy we're using two strong midfielders, so it allows us to, like in the derby, right? I saw instances when Basuma and Sarr were really far back, it was like a 2, yeah, and you had the back line or back 4 behind them, and it kind of allowed Maddison to actually do something.
So, like I say, has fully come on board now, Travis. We're talking Invincibles. We're talking prime Arsenal.
But it's a comparison. Like, I like teams who have two strong midfielders, right? And it lets the rest of the team just attack. If you're going to play this way, I know it sounds like 6 and 4, if anyone call it that way, or because obviously even City play this way. They play Stones and Rodri, and then
now he's comparing us to City. I mean, Haz is fully on board, Travis. You won him over. It didn't take long, did it? Less than half hour.
Give it an hour. It's going to be all over Twitter. Give it an hour. It's all over Twitter tonight, guys. Tune in for 10 o'clock.
Trending. By 11 o'clock tonight, Haz is going to be trending on Twitter. We're going to get a golden Premier League title.
Some Arsenal's going to clip that and say
that's a lot. That's a lot of followers to lose, Haz.
But I'm trying to say is the good sides play this sort of way, so we just need to add depth. And like in January, I want a centre half and a left back, and then in the summer we got to go grab a few more players. So
I'm sure we will. I'm sure there's going to be some business. So. Guys, really appreciate your time and that tonight. Before we go and say goodbye, though, everyone who's watching, just want to say, the guy who's created this channel, Harry, let's make sure we all go and vote for him, because I don't know if you've seen, but today he was nominated for Individual of the Year in the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Awards. So if you can head over to footballcontentawards.com/voting, and you'll see Harry there. If you can go over and give him a vote, that's back one of our own, and fully deserved for everything he does and putting himself out there the way he does. So please go over there and get voting for Harry. That'd be a great honor for him to pick that award up. But for tonight, it leaves me with nothing more to say. But Travis, really appreciate your time tonight. You've won us all over. The title is coming. Where can we find you, or when will you next be on?
Yeah, listen, I love coming on these shows. So I'm a regular. They're absolutely phenomenal shows, and what Harry has done to set this up for us all. And the guy's incredible. You know what he does for autism. We've had a brief talk about mental health as well. The guy is unbelievable. And Harry, I wish you all the best for your future, because you're superb at what you do, mate. So keep up the good work. And yeah, as I say, I echo obviously what you've said there. Please vote for him. Fantastic guy. And yeah, he's done a lot for these podcasts. So keep up the good work, Harry. You can find me on Twitter at officialcaster. I am on Instagram also as TC1_1. And I am on Facebook as well for anyone who's interested. But yeah, thank you for having me on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. I look forward to the next one. Talking about obviously how we're going to win the league. So
brilliant. And Haz, where can we find you, mate?
So on Twitter at Hasper92, and my own YouTube channel is Hasper TV. I'm on this channel quite a lot, so you probably find me on here in a couple of weeks, because Harry's booked me in, of course, for like 2 or 3 shows in the next month or 2.
So he's on
As
the
you know,
ball.
Harry books things in a month in advance, whilst you have someone like me who just does it like on the whim.
Very organised.
Like
he's very
10 days or
organised.
something. Yeah, very, very organised. He's like asked for specific dates, and also go and vote for him for the award. I've just done that myself actually just now. I've actually shared the tweet, so if you go to my Twitter, it's like underneath if you don't follow Harry Scarf already. And yeah, Harry, like I have to thank him also for giving me a platform to speak Spurs almost on a weekly basis. Me and Harry do a lot of streams here, as you guys may know, on View from the South, so you can find my View from the South as well. I have a Friday show there. I don't know if Karl's going to join me this Friday, but
yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah, and on my own channel, I normally stream on a Wednesday and on a Sunday. So it's Hasbro TV, and I'm I think 5 away from 300. So 5 of you, please go and subscribe.
Get subscribing.
Yeah,
get
please.
subscribing. Get Has to 300 definitely.
Please, just 5 more, and then I can go over that line. Yeah.
And remember, you heard it here first. Has says Invincibles, the new Man City, the new Invincible Arsenal title winners. You heard it here first. Get quoting that on Twitter. You've just seen Hasbro say that this is it. And on that note,
I'll tell you what you should do tonight, mate. Just silence your Twitter, mate, for your own sake.
I don't think anyone's going to go and care that much, really.
I will ask Harry to clip that
most
up.
likely, I'll be clipped on Arsenal fan.
Oh, I'm going to reach out to Harry now.
The Invincibles will be something like that. I'm not saying we're going to go Invincible, by the way, just for
Oh, it's too late for that now, mate. Too late for that. Brilliant, guys. Thank you very much for this evening. Have a lovely rest of the night and good week. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.